So Croatia is heading to Turin with Guilty Pleasure by Mia. Now, normally we do a little pun at the beginning of this. The pun here is pretty obvious. Is it our guilty pleasure? I hate myself for saying that, but there we go. Let's review Eurovision. So last year in Rotterdam, Croatia was represented by TikTok, by Albania. It was one of the big fan favourites, actually. I personally wasn't a big fan. I didn't rate it. It did squeak into 11th place, though. It didn't quite make it to the final. Slightly unfairly, though, because it did finish in the top 10, both in the jury and the televote. It was a slightly awkward quirk of the system that meant it finished just outside of the final places. Are they going to do any better this year, though? They're sending Mia with Guilty Pleasure. It's quite a happy, perky song. Well, have a little listen. I'm with him until the death do us part, but it doesn't do for this hungry heart. I'm with him, but in my frantic head, you always come and say, would you run away? Would you run away with me? All righty then, that was Guilty Pleasure. Emily, are you on board with it?
Not massively. It's kind of cute, but I don't really feel like I have any kind of more thoughts on it than that. This is the issue with this year, is that there's so many songs that are kind of perfectly listenable, but there's just nothing kind of notable about it. I saw quite a few like YouTube comments that were like comparing it to like Taylor Swift folklore songs, and I just thought, that's a bit of a stretch. It's definitely kind of trying to steal from that ilk.
Seriously.
Oh. I can see like the inspiration is there, but it doesn't in any way kind of compare. It's just kind of, it's cute, but there's just nothing memorable about it. So yeah, not a big fan of this one, sadly.
Righty, on the negative side there for Emily, James, your thoughts?
Do you know what? I actually really like Croatia this year. It's a little bit different. It's, for me, simple done well. You know, that we say so many times on here, sometimes don't overcomplicate it, keep it simple, but catching things. I think that's what they've sort of done, really. I mean, by no means my favourite at all, but, it's a little bit different. It's quite good. It's not the most exciting staging, though. That's the thing for me. I mean, I sort of watched it, and something sometimes grabs you. You see something, you think, oh my God, that's really good. That's really clever. I don't necessarily have that with this, which is a bit of a concern for me, because staging is one of the most important things. But, it's sort of, this is very niche, I know, for people in the UK. It reminds me almost of the Tracy Beaker theme. You know what I mean? The sort of like, you could make my dreams come true. I don't know why, and that's what I get from it. But, it's okay. By no means my favourite, but, I think that the thing is, this year, like we've said, it's a very mixed bag. We've got some really nice music. We've got some really rubbish music. This one sort of sits in the middle for me. It's not amazing, but it's not awful. It's just so really, which is a shame, because I really think it has potential. It could be a very nice song, just not for me.
So not really your cup of tea either then, James. Everything comes in threes, and unfortunately I'm joining the club. It's as you said, Emily, it's very unmemorable, forgettable, whatever the word is. It's so happy and perky and just poo. It just annoys me. I'm like, just stop harassing my eardrums and just leave me alone. I really, and I also find it's a subject matter that we don't hear all that often. It's about somebody who is in a relationship, but is sort of being tempted by somebody else. And that is an inherently unlikable characteristic. Am I supposed to get behind the person who's singing this? Or am I supposed to find her a bitch? Because I find her a bitch. And she's just, her voice, it's just a shame, because she's clearly a good singer. This is just not, in what way does this stand out as a song? For me, it really doesn't do anything. That said, so the first few weeks, I really was not, every time it came on and the first little notes came in and she started singing, I was like, nope, skip. And as you say, yeet it off my Spotify. Now I hate to say I do listen to it when it comes on, and I do listen to all of it, and it is becoming a bit of a guilty pleasure somehow, and maybe the fact that it is becoming a bit of a guilty pleasure, and the fact that she has created a song that is a metaphor for its own subject matter, if you think about it, is genius. So maybe this is fucking brilliant. And I've completely written this off and put it really low, but I still think on reflection, it's a little bit too perky. The subject matter, it just doesn't do anything for me. And she just needs to not really bother, I think. It's a bit, I felt it was a very flip-floppy response, but yeah, I'm negative as well. So Croatia is performing in the first semi-final. They're going 11th immediately after Portugal and immediately before Denmark. Do we think it'll qualify? And where does it sit in our rankings?
I think probably on reflection, I've put this kind of too highly in my personal rankings. I think it could struggle in the semi-finals, because I think it is, like you were saying, I've kind of had that as well. When I'd listened to it a couple of times, it then started to kind of stick in my head a bit. But I think on a first listen, it's kind of a no. And obviously with Eurovision, most people are just listening to it that kind of one time. For me, it's my number 26. So I wouldn't make it to the final, I think.
It wouldn't, no, wouldn't this? Because there's only 25 final this year, so it wouldn't.
Yeah. So for me, yeah, it's just kind of, it's fine. Maybe on reflection, it will be slightly lower down my rating, but yeah, it's a non-qualifier for me.
A non-qualifier for Emily then. For me, when I did my ranking, this was in my I really don't like it phase. It probably, on reflection, I would have put it a little bit higher now, sort of 2-3 weeks on. It's my 35, so it really is bottom of the barrel. I don't see what they could do with it staging wise to make it more interesting. I just imagine it's going to be her in like a white dress and this man like faffing about, like sort of teasing her and things like that. I mean, that's not memorable in any way. And Croatia does always struggle a little bit with staging and making it memorable. So I think they're already starting at a bit of a disadvantage, and the fact that the song isn't quite up there is a problem. I do unfortunately see it completely getting lost and coming last. And I think Portugal may surprise on how well it does. Denmark is a lot louder than this, and this just sits in an awkward bubble in the middle. And I think it probably will get lost. And I don't think it deserves to come last in the semi, but I can see it happening. So I think this is another year that Croatia is going to sit it out of the final, unfortunately. Which is a bit of a shame for them, but. Croatia is one of these countries that I never really get on board with. I don't think I've ever liked a Croatian entry. I mean, there's Croatia, Poland up until this year. Watch the Polish video and you'll see. I never really liked Poland songs. Georgia, I never like. Hungary, I never like. And Croatia is one of them. So no matter what they send, it just never really clicks with me. And this is another one, unfortunately. I think it's not really going to click with Europe either. So that's what we think. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, let us know what you think. We'd love to hear it. Make sure you add us on Instagram as well at Eurovision. And if you do subscribe here on YouTube, make sure you hit the bell notification to get a little ding-a-ling every time we post a new video. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.